Hi, Bother Brigade. Here's what's bothering me today. We're talking once again about Leeds and Grenville and sort of that article, right? So, given all the context in yesterday's video and also about, the various reasons that people listed in that article about, we're very civic minded. And someone joked that there's less rednecks. Trust me, there's still plenty there. The idea that generally emerges is, we take care of our community. And that's again with them being conservative for the most part, but also again, still believing in vaccination, not really going with the whole like online crazy right-wing discourse and misinformation. So this begs the question, why? Well, again, it has to do with community. And that's why I'm here to say that in many ways, a lot of conservatives are actually like borderline communists and they just don't realize it. Here's what I mean, because I'm sure your heads are reeling from that statement, but trust me, I got a point to this. So, generally speaking, right, we take care of our own. We take care of our communities. Well, is that not just solidarity in action and to a certain extent a form of mutual aid? Because what a lot of people in the country do, right, they also have, farms, properties, small veggie patches, whatever, make a few bucks on the side. So, hey, look, that's a little bit of self-sustaining food security. You got your chickens and your eggs, and you also got a lovely veggie patch full of kale, pumpkins, whatever will basically grow in the ground. There's corn everywhere. It's often for feed. Same with all the soy in the area. But it's a sign that this is a community that cares for each other and works together. Almost like a weird, I think we have a word for that when communities come together and support each other. Communitarianism? I don't know. Maybe it'll come to me. Another thing that you will see in many parts of Leeds and Grenville and other rural communities is instead of having police forces, because again, they're just, small little hamlets, what you will see is a sign that says, this community protected by neighborhood watch. So neighbors watch each other's backs, right? I made, the comment before in the previous video about there will be times where you see someone who has a sign with like, a cartoon hand and a gun pointed at you saying, we don't call the cops around here. So again, is that not a form of community defense? It's not really policing, but it's community safety and defense. Interesting about that. Another thing that's interesting, and I think I know this is why a lot of them tend to vote conservative, is many people will have a business operating out of their homes or their garage or garage as it's pronounced out there, or it will be, out of their barn in some cases. And, oh, look at the evil big government, I'm just casually doing my thing, just, either with me, maybe some family or a couple friends from, down the road, 10 clicks. Yeah, and they're just taking my money. I should be entitled to the fruits of my labor. Another crucial, interesting thing is, again, to use Leeds and Grenville as an example, the idea of we got to protect people in our community. We got to get these vaccines out to the elderly because we know we got a lot of elderly people here. Everyone's very involved and civically minded here. So that means in order to protect the community, we have to, take these necessary steps, get the vaccine, or if people can't come and get the vaccine, we got to get it out to them. So how do we do that? Let's find solutions. That all ties in, again, especially with the whole, small business aspect. They see it as, oh, government taking me away. So that's why, we need less regulation. Just let me be free. But really the core of it is that they're mad that other people are taking away from the fruits of their labor, which explained a certain way could maybe get them to be, say, what was the word? Communitarian? No, I'm sorry. The word will come back to me, I swear. Another thing that's interesting is in various areas, you will find co-ops, either grain co-ops, dairy co-ops. And, as I said in the previous video, you will see people with signs saying Black Lives Matter, every child matters with regards to the indigenous genocide that happened at residential schools. We got people flying pride flags everywhere, and like several small towns have pride parades as well. So what exactly is going on here, right? It's that spirit of community. It's at the heart of everything. And it's something we leftists love to talk about a lot. And in many ways, what a lot of people out in the country practice is some form of mutual aid because, well, hey, like someone needs to help this person here. And like a tow truck is, 3 hours away. I'll just call up Ted and he'll get the tractor and he'll pull you out. Like, these are things that actually happen out in the country. It's part of why that conservative ideal of, see, we don't need no big government, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, all that stuff, because depending on where you want to implement that ideal, that can actually make a certain amount of sense out in the country. The problem is that in many cases, it's also the social issues difference that then leads to like the schism. But I'm hoping people are realizing that in a great many ways, in terms of food security, helping out community, instead of relying on police, you rely on each other and a form of community safety and self-defense. You have just various businesses, like very small businesses, working together, trying to enjoy and maximize the fruits of your labor. You have a strong sense of community. You are forming co-ops. Like, all these different things are happening, not just in Leeds and Grenville. Like, that's the core example here, but it's happening all around in some capacity in many areas. And yet, because of like their media or their pre-existing beliefs or like whatever other reasons you can possibly think of, they still see themselves as conservative rather than communist or socialist or anarchist, even though if you actually look at what they're doing and what's going on there, it's very similar to what a lot of us leftists are also trying to actively do. The main point of all of this, I guess, is that like I said in the last video, you shouldn't write off the country, specifically because of like this instance that I'm using as an example with Leeds and Grenville. The second thing is that, please, conservatives, realize that on some level, even if you don't realize it or not, and you may not like the word communism, a lot of what you are doing and believe it, and not saying that it's incorrect, but a lot of that stuff and how you're feeling about certain things are actually manifestations of a communist or sometimes anarchist belief, structure, and ideology. And yet you still latch on to, conservatism and these other ideals when really what you're practicing is a lot of what I and others are also trying to do or practicing ourselves. There's just, for a variety of reasons, there's that disconnect. And that disconnect that prevents solidarity between the urban and the rural and just the working class in general, that disconnect is absolutely what's bothering me today.